Hello, this is my presentation for Youth and the Justice System by me, Katerina. While researching juveniles in the justice system and what problems they faced, I came along a webpage that talks about how the juvenile offenders are diagnosed with disabilities that may have caused their delinquency. A quote from the webpage that stood out to me was, "It is estimated that between 60 to 75% of the youth in the juvenile justice system have one or more diagnosed disabilities." And I'll touch back on this a little bit more later. In our book, at the beginning of chapter 10, they gave us some statistics about the youth population in the United States. And what really grabbed me for this and popped my attention was that there was 20% of kids growing up in a single parent household, but a majority of that percentage are minority. Only 20% of them are white. Now, I wanted to do some research and statistics of how many juveniles are actually in prison or jail, and I was shocked to find out that it was 60,000 kids as of 2020. Of our population right now, we have 72.8 million kids from 0 to 7, the ages, and if you do the math and divide everything, that makes 12.1% of our kids in America incarcerated. Not only does America have the highest incarceration rate in the world, but we also have the highest incarceration rate for kids and youth. When I looked into the statistics, I wanted to look more into the minority who were incarcerated, and I found that 44% of incarcerated youth in America was African American. And it's crazy because back when this was taken in 2015, only 16% of our nation was African American. While reading chapter 10, I came across research statistics about about how children growing up in single-parent households. It was conducted by Janet Larson, collected data from the National Crime Victim Survey, and found that kids growing up in a single-parent household are at higher risk for violence than those who grew up with both parents. And there's also an increase in risk if the child grows up in a disadvantaged community. And right here, there's a quote stating exactly that. Janet also found that kids who grew up in a household with a family lead and their neighborhood had a higher percentage of more kids than adults in that community, that they were at a higher risk of violent victimization. And then the passage goes on to say that minority youth are more likely to be at risk for violent victimization than white youth, because they're more likely to spend time away from home and they're more likely to live in a single parent household as well. Some issues today for juveniles in the justice system is that they don't have proper access to mental health services. A lot of kids are diagnosed with mental disorders such as ADHD, anxiety, and maybe even some personality disorders. However, in a lot of cases, it's too late when they are diagnosed. They could already be acting out in home or school or in the communities, and it's not too late until they're showing severe signs that they get help, or even if they're already put in the justice system, that they aren't properly diagnosed. Another issue that juveniles are facing is there's no support from schools. A lot of schools are underfunded and undersupported right now, which is hurting the children. A lot of the time, when children have a reading deficiency or learning disability, such as the ones I have listed here in the second bulletin, having a learning disability causes them to act out because they don't understand why they're different from other kids or why they can't learn the way the other kids are learning. Just like I stated above with their mental health, if not treated properly or at a young age, it might cause the kids to act out. So when we put criminals away, there is always an end goal. Whether it's for rehabilitation, reformation, or punishment, retribution, you pick. You would think that when you put a child away for a crime they committed, it would be to rehabilitate them, trying to get them back to being a better part of society. But it's not really, when it comes to prison, that's not really the case. There's a lack of teachings in the prison system for them. There could be kids as young as 12 in the prison system missing out on their whole education. And with mental health issues, a lot of the time kids and adults in the prisons don't get the proper resources they need, just like their education. They don't get the medicine they need or the treatment they need, which could be why they committed the crime in the first place. I researched how many kids got their GED in prison, and all I got was adult statistics. That makes me wonder if kids are even getting their education during or after their time in prison. And if you look at the stats here, these are for like all around, and it's for getting their GED, and you just wonder what percent of these percentage are kids, because it doesn't seem like it's many. I chose the Black Youth Leadership Program because it stood out to me by having high achievement program that has helped over 4,000 students. I wanted to look into a program that focuses mainly on minority youth, and I was also looking for a nonprofit organization such as this one. As you can see here, this program was founded in 1999 and it's based out of the state of California. It's free to those who want to join and is a nonprofit. BYLP was created to help the next generation of kids coming up who want to be part of public leadership. So they're basically here to help these kids learn how to be public leadership, such as mayors, sheriffs, things such as that. Their mission here is to establish, develop, and implement educational programs for Black youth in California and beyond in areas of leadership, development, public speaking, the legislative process, public service, cultural awareness, and identity. Some more about the Black Youth Leadership Program is that their funding, all they take in as donations and fundraisers that were held by the community and the organization itself. So if you want to join, it's free. If you look on their webpage, they have a whole lot of testimonials from kids they have helped in the past, but there's a couple that stood out to me, like the two here by Chris Lodgson. First, the organization leadership has served as a prime example of what strong, principled, consistent, persistent, and intelligent stewardship looks like. I've learned from them in the past and continue to do so now as a leader of an organization myself. And the second one here from Jalen Hill. The guidance they gave me was always helpful and a determining factor in my major decisions. Whether it's for the community or their smaller network, BYLP consistently shows how much they care. I noticed while reading both of these testimonies, and mainly all the ones I have read, that they use strong words such as care, consistent leadership, and guidance, which is what you look for in programs such as this. There are so many kids out there that are put into the prison system at such a young age. Yes, they might be guilty of committing a crime of some sort, but they should not have to be held to the punishment that an adult would be, such as life of parole, life in prison, or even just a couple years. Seems a little too harsh. The justice system should be worried about rehabilitating the youth and teaching them while they're still young and impressionable either not to do the crime in the first place or ever again. When researching what programs to talk about, I saw a lot of programs that focused a lot on youth that were troubled and needed help. A lot of programs involved the parents and families of the kids, which is great to help build that relationship, but the programs were mainly focused on how to get the kids in a better place in their lives. I also looked at programs that helped minority youth, and there were a lot out there. Our world is still developing, it's very diverse, and hopefully moving in a positive direction, but there is still a lot of negativity in it. By having a program and a community outreach where the kids look like you might help the kids understand and fit in a little bit better. There should be help and guidance everywhere for kids, not only to get them out of trouble or stay out of trouble, but to help them be successful beneficiaries to our communities.